My name is Reg Underwood from the Sayote Nation here in Saanich, and my Indian name is Shlamchemult, which I got from my mother, which she gave me her older brother's name. His name was Harry Elliott from the Cowichan Nation, but I got his name Shlamchemult, which means home run. No, just kidding. It means nothing, it's just a name. I got into sports because of my older siblings, I think, and the invention of a television. If it was raining or cold out or whatever, you sat in and watched this new box, and baseball would be on, and it was quick. I enjoyed watching it, but didn't understand it. I was 4, 5, 6 years old. Then your older siblings, you'd ask questions, your older siblings would explain it to you, and then it made it that much more interesting. And as I got a little older, I was allowed to walk down to my cousin's place, which they had 16 in their family. I think that's where it all started, was because the older son there was 2 years older than me. And he was already more established into the sport itself. And he would scour the beaches for driftwood bats. And it would be the shape of a bat. You found one that was the shape of a bat, the length of a bat. And what we did was, he lived in an inlet, and we would toss up rocks, hit it across the shore. And if you got to the other side, it was like a home run, and you did your little home run dance and all that other stuff. And we did that from supper till it got dark, and you couldn't see the rock hit on the other side anymore. And I would get in trouble for being home when it was dark. And then we went to school and understood the game of scrub, and we got into that. And so we needed a ball. And now here we are, 6 and 8 years old, with an eye-hand coordination you couldn't believe. Then we got into basketball in the wintertime, and we also didn't have a basketball. So we took a plastic bag, stuffed it with socks, and taped it. Took a barrel hoop and nailed it to a piece of plastic or a plywood board, and that was our basketball. And we couldn't bounce it, so you could only take 2 steps and pass, 2 steps and pass. But we had great eye-hand coordination to the hoop. And once again, we were already well established into sports, so it was unbelievable as kids. I could say that sports is everything to me. I'm still doing it today, 5 days a week. Soccer Mondays and Fridays, and golf Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. I'm 72, and I think sports is the avenue to life. It makes you competitive, and if you're tired of losing, then do something about it. Practice. Watch other people. Make sure that, like what you're doing is helping the team. Watch others and see how they did it, and go on and try to incorporate that into your game, and it'll better your game. And life's a competition. And if you want a job, you got to compete for it. And if you carry that from your sports to your career, you'll always have a job. And I honestly believe that. And I did it through my carpentry career, because on the carpentry level, you are a team. You got to get things done. Put your head together and get it done. And I took that right to my retirement. As far as, say, the achievements, they came knocking on the door one day about the Victoria Hall of Fame and things that I've done. I've been to the BC in all of those sports. I've had a couple of scholarships offered me for rugby, and what was actually football, down in California, which I turned down, and I kind of wished I didn't. I wished I when I phoned them up, by the time I phoned them to play football for them and then play baseball in the off season, it was kind of like, Reg who? And it was gone. So I had to move on. And then with all the sports, it was the Victoria Hall of Fame that come knocking first, and I got inducted into the Victoria Hall of Fame, the BC Hall of Fame, the Canadian Hall of Fame, and then the Aboriginal Hall of Fame was established, and I was lucky enough to be inducted into that too. But in 1976, I was nominated for the Tom Longboat Award, which is top Native athlete in Canada, and I won that. And 2 years prior to that was my sister Vivian, who's the next one older than me. She had also won that award, and she was also a multi-talented athlete. And who I looked up to, who I watched, and learned some things from her too, you know. But I would say that to me, the Tom Longboat Award was very touching to me because it was from the Native people, so that felt good. I hummed about that one, and I wondered, you know, like you think of Native culture as hunting and fishing and hand-me-down knowledge of what to do, where to go. And I thought about that, what it meant to me in sports. And I sort of thought about it, and I thought, respect. Respect that you get from your elders and your older siblings, that they've been there, done that, and hopefully they've learned from their mistakes, and they hand that down to you. That's the culture, I feel. And if I was to put that to sports, I would say that if you looked at your coaches and your managers, that would be like your elders. They're the elders in the sport. They're teaching you what they've gone through and what they've learned, and they're guiding you. And if you looked at your veteran players that you went and joined, I would say they're like your older siblings. They're on the field coaches. They're guiding you on the field. And you better take their advice if you want to stay on the team. Because I was playing, and I'm still playing, and when I had my kids, I could say that I coached them because I was there. But I mean, I let the coaches do their thing because they were coaches and managers, but I couldn't make everything. So, but I was there like sort of like technique, mechanics. You know, I would, if I saw a kid that was overstriding, big swing, I would shorten his stride, I would bring his bat down so he could swing level, make him feel good about himself. I didn't try to make him me. I took a little bit of what he had and just tipped it a little bit so that he was comfortable in himself. And it makes me feel good that maybe I've handed something down that, or their parents have talked about it, and maybe they would think, I'd like to do that. Oh wow, it's here. It's a lifetime of sporting achievements being recognized by our people. And I normally don't do this, but it's tough. I appreciate it. And that's all I can say.
Okay. What's your golf handicap?
I got down. Yeah. I got down to a 7. Yeah. I got down to a 7, and it's the toughest sport I've ever taken up, and it's tough to stay there. The sport itself made me a better person to my job, because just working as a team. You know, that's what life's about. And you know, I think anybody in here, you guys are a team, and you need each other to do what you do. And you're going to sit down and talk about it. You know, next time we're going to do it this way, you know, because that way didn't work, you know. And then you talk about it. And that's what you do in sports. I got to read this because this really means a lot to me. To end this, I would just like to say, as an amateur athlete, I was lucky to have a very understanding wife, so shout out to her for putting up with me for 55 years. I also would like to say that I was a lucky guy to have been able to play with a bunch of talented athletes in all sports. I was also fortunate to have played in an era of sports in Victoria in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and was the hotbed of the Canadian amateur sports, men's and women's. Again, I would like to thank you for this acknowledgement. It's very humbling to me. Life's been good, so Haich Kasiem.